All right, welcome to Gen X Rated Saturday edition. How we doing, Uncle Bill, under this heat dome?
It's hot.
Smoking
It is
hot.
like broiling hot. Yeah, you feel the heat coming up through the sidewalk.
It's crazy. It's a good thing you got your workout indoors today.
Yeah, I suggested to Cole maybe for our warm up we could walk to the gym, and he was having none of that, and he was right.
Way too hot for that. And I heard the
Way
gym
too hot.
pretty busy because of the heat, obviously. We talked
hmm
about the heat dome the other day. It's going to affect over 200 million people this weekend.
Wow.
There was talk in the European press how 600 people are likely to die in England and Wales just due to not being used to this kind of temperature.
Yeah, well, they're not set up for that either. I mean, there's no, a lot of those people don't have air conditioning because they don't need it. It's a pretty temperate climate, but yeah, this stuff is it's unprecedented, but it's the new reality apparently.
It's pretty crazy. Well, you had talked about earlier about training camp and how the trainers really had to be on top of that.
Yeah, well, with the heat and the humidity, they do what they call a wet bulb assessment. So they factor in, the degree of humidity, the heat, and they decide whether it's, safe to practice or how long they can be out there for, which is good because, that's crazy. It can be very dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, and we saw that many years ago with Corey uh, Stringer dying with the Vikings due to
hmm
concussion, which was something that should never happen.
And again, yeah, there's no excuse for that. That should never have happened.
Absolutely.
But you go back and I mean, back as far back as like the 70s, man, they thought water breaks were, weakness. There's a book about Bear
Babies.
Bryant's team, the Junction Boys, when he coached at Texas A&M, and no water, 3-hour practice in pads, no water. Like, it's amazing nobody died. I mean, that's just insane.
Well, no guarantees that nobody died, but nobody heard about it. Okay.
It wasn't in the book. They
He had a
cut
lot of
that part
powerful
out.
friends. Just to refresh, I mean, this is like high pressure in our atmosphere, all this warm air, and then as the humidity and heat up, it gets pushed back down to make things even hotter for us. So it'd be a good day to be doing this. Okay,
hmm
get out in the sprinklers and try and stay cool, whatever
Or
means
just
it
stay
takes.
inside.
Inside too, sure, as long as it's not a brick house without air conditioning, which turns into an oven.
Yeah. Yeah, I can vouch for that when somebody stole my compressor.
Yeah, that was well. At least you had air blowing on you, even though it was warm.
It took me 3 days to figure it out.
Oh my gosh, it happens. What are you gonna do?
What
So
can you do?
we'll deal with the heat. Maybe spend some time at the old ice rink might help. I don't know. We'll see.
hmm
I did want to the news today, which I thought was kind of funny. Not funny, haha. But always with Trump, it's something weird and stupid. Um,
Oh, yeah.
he he wants a special prosecutor set up to look into the 2020 election.
Dude, that let it go. You lost over and over and over again, and they finally stripped your lead attorney, John Eastman. They took away his right to practice law ever because that shit was so convoluted. I mean, what the fuck?
It was the other woman too, the crazy lady.
Oh, Sydney.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sydney. I don't even remember her last
Also
name.
stripped. I find it funny because it's almost like we agree because he wants to look into the 2020 election for theft, and they're obviously Grassley's looking into in the GOP into uh, Biden and his mental capacity during this time. And I feel like,
Which is ironic. I mean, what's Grassley's mental capacity? That guy's brain's got to be a bag of dust and lawn clippings. I mean, my God.
well, and I'm with Trump. I would like to investigate the 2024 election because I think it's
hmm
silly, and I'd like to check on his cognitive dissonance. He worries me. The shit he talks about, he spends all day working on flagpoles. The one ends up crooked. Turns out he looked up and there was a flag on top of the White House. He was like, "Oh, well, this was a giant waste of time."
Yeah, this is it's concerning. I mean, you've got Grandpa Simpson in charge and he can't make a decision. Well, I might go to war, I might not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll let you know in 2 weeks.
but
Really.
in true taco form, most people think when he says 2 weeks, he's going to bomb this week. They have sent some B-2 bombers into that area. They were getting fueled up over the West Coast here. None of it's positive, but this guy's making a giant mistake, and we'll see if it's allowed to happen, because Netanyahu's been gaslighting us for years.
Mm-hmm.
Every politician is greased by their
APAC, yeah.
without naming names, yes, they're special interest groups, and they've owned us for years. But to see Netanyahu standing among the destruction and being outraged by one hospital being bombed, when you look at Gaza and it's in rubble,
Oh yeah.
it's
Well, he's appealing to the Iranian people to step up now. Regime change. That regime, their grip on power is loosening. Like, what exactly do you expect them to do?
I know it's a tough one.
It's
I
not
would
like
like
you're
to see the
invading and
Israeli
coming to
give it
their
a
aid
try.
and you're going to help them. You want them to rally around the streets and be massacred? I don't know.
Less
That guy's
people.
just a complete tool.
Well, maybe that's from the Stephen Miller playbook, because he's looking to bring down our population to about 100 um, million would be his ideal number of Americans in this country.
So 2/3 of the country. Okay. Or maybe he can start with himself. Maybe he can deport himself. That would be a great start. Addition by subtraction. That guy. He's the biggest anti-Semite there is.
It's insane. Such a self-hater.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and to that point, just on that worldview, I'm going to put up this. We talk about Voice of America all the time. Talked about how they went from 1,800 and they're trying to put it down to 18 people. Well, today again, they laid off 639 people. They've effectively shut down Voice of America. So when we talk about Netanyahu and Israel and the conflict in the Middle East and Iran, our perspective that might be our reality that we know to be true, not necessarily Trump's, isn't going to be shared with the rest of the world, which only makes it more dangerous for us, frankly. But Trump knows better. So,
Well, Trump thinks Trump knows better, but reality says otherwise.
yeah, I can't really trust in Trump. He's just got some crazy ideas.
Well, yeah, and he's just clueless. He doesn't know what he's doing. One columnist wrote that the thing about Trump is he likes the attention, but he doesn't want to be responsible for any of these decisions. He's afraid to be responsible. He's afraid to really make a decision. I mean, when they asked during the debate, when they asked about his, plan for a healthcare plan, well, I have a concept of a plan. Has anybody seen any kind of concept or anything? Go back to his first, go back to his first term with his infrastructure bill that we're going to get on. That never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just a complete boob, and I don't know if he thinks he's playing the madman theory that Nixon came up with during the Vietnam War, where if people thought the leader of the free world was literally a madman, they'd be afraid of him.
Yeah.
I think the word is out that this guy's just kind of a chump. Doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. He is a taco, and
It's the taco. Yeah.
it just makes things even worse. And he's surrounded by a cadre of idiots. I mean, between Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, who he openly contradicted, and now she's blaming the media. It just, it's crazy that you couldn't make this shit up.
Well, and in fairness to her, she's no longer part of the meetings. His security team does not include her when it comes to any kind of discussions. The other person that's left on the outside is Hegseth. So, is he dangerous when you see him talking in front of our Congress people? Yes. Does he seem overmatched? God, yes. Does anybody want to work under him? No. But he's not part of the equation, so he can sit there and talk all he wants because Trump's not listening to him anyway.
Yeah.
Would you rather have somebody that knows something? Absolutely. But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, there was an interesting article in New York Magazine about Hegseth, how he, threw 3 of his closest friends that he appointed under the bus with the leaks. I mean, it's just complete chaos there. You've got, again, a lot of incompetent people running around, and the people that are competent are being sidelined. And this guy's busy working out with the troops.
A lot. He benches a lot, bro.
Yeah. How much you bench, bro? Do you even lift, bro?
Well, and while these distractions go on, they're going to continue to cut things. I saw in that big, beautiful bill, they're gutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I know we had talked about this before, but it is becoming a reality if that bill goes to the president's desk through the Senate.
This bill's a disaster.
And again, this is protection for consumers from financial fraud. Does it cost money to pay people to look out for you? Yeah, there's a cost to it. But Trump feels this is overregulation. It's overreach. It's kind of crazy. The good news is, as he's trying to gut this, that there's procedural violations within the Senate Parliament. So as much as he's pushing to cut the $6.4 billion, and this all came about because of the financial crisis of 2008, which screwed a lot of people. A lot of people weren't able to reset like Trump, who's made his fortune in the last 4 months of being president because he's a scam artist. But that's why these protections were put into place for average Americans to not get screwed by those that can. Because of this procedural violation that they put in, it will not pass the Senate. So as much as he's trying to do this, it's not going to happen. So that's some good news for a change. As we go through this bill, more things keep coming out.
This bill's a disaster.
It goes on, and I'm going to jump to the next thing that comes out of that stupid bill. This here is rural America. One of the problems with rural America is, as we talked about, they don't have the same health standards as far as hospitals or clinics to go to, even to see nurse practitioners. It's just not available. So Biden in 2021 put the BEAD program out, which was a national plan to bring internet to everybody. If you can't get to a doctor, you can at least maybe FaceTime, or you'd have access to be able to get some of the help that you might need. It basically crushes rural America. It's $42 billion that was supposed to go into high-speed internet. Of course, the GOP thinks it's stupid and wasteful. It strands people without health care across all these rural parts of America. Let me put up another.
Well, and these people are a big part of his base. That's the crazy thing. It just shows, I mean, how many times does this guy have to punch you in the face before you realize he doesn't like you?
You're absolutely right.
He does not care.
So it sets back, not only without internet, so you're not getting any information while you're out living in the rural community. I mean, it sets back future generations that aren't going to get any of the updated information that might be current and helpful. So this is 3 million people living mostly in rural countries that lack broadband, or rural counties that lack broadband, as well as primary care, and behavior health care can't be provided because they have no access to anybody. So what the statistics find is that people live sicker, and on average they die earlier. So where's the plus in here, and who's voting for this?
That's the crazy part, man. Some of these MAGA people just have the worst case of Stockholm syndrome. This guy is just, he hates you.
And to your point, Arizona, Georgia, Alabama, I mean, these are just astronomical numbers, a third to 40% that aren't going to have any of this access. I know in Missouri, a third of Missouri, which 114 counties here, fall into this category. And we know how Missouri voted for this guy. So the reason why the GOP, that they posture why they don't like it, is because it's going to take too long.
Everything takes a while.
And of course, let's get into the reality of this. These mandates, and I'm sure you know the next word that's coming, are woke. Okay? Woke.
That's right.
You got to get bids. You want people to come in and bid for these jobs? Come on. You give it to Trump's guys. I mean,
the internet's so woke.
And you got labor and employment requirements. Why? Who needs that stuff? And lastly, we talked about this many months ago about climate analysis. So when they put up power plants and stuff, they had to do some kind of climate analysis to see how it affects the area you're in, which are mainly brown areas and poorer people areas. We got rid of that already. But that's another reason why this broadband is so woke. I mean, like, who cares about the environment? What are you guys, a bunch of wokies?
I know. And who's even buying this shit anymore? I mean, I just don't get it. And how are you going to watch Fox News if you don't have internet and broadband?
You're absolutely right.
Get out the old rabbit ears and put the aluminum foil on them, and
amen.
Gather around the old TV machine. I mean,
yes, we're doing it. Okay. God damn it. I wanted to put up these guys. They look friendly enough. This is a bit of a local bit for us. These are Geese. In St. Louis, it came out that the USDA came out with a local community to round up a bunch of geese.
Canadian geese.
And that was the real kicker here. These are Canadian geese, okay? So they should go back to their own country. Am I right?
Well, apparently they didn't even give them the chance to go back to their own country.
No, they scooped them up, and they did it. There are laws in place. I'm not going to blame the local community. Um, the geese do present a problem when they're nesting. They get pretty territorial.
I know, but just walk around them, avoid them.
Well, they can be kind of aggressive.
Yeah, I got chased by one time, but you know what? I didn't hold a grudge.
Apparently, the excess poop is an issue too. On
Look
average,
around it.
they poop every 7 minutes. So if you got
They do poop a
19 of
lot, I'll
them,
give you that.
listen, I'm going to put up this picture again. You can see what's on that sidewalk, okay?
Yeah, no, I get it. There's a lot of it, but
A
you
lot
can
of
walk
droppings.
around it.
They do have bacteria and some other things that could sicken you if you fall down on the pavement and actually eat it accidentally, I guess.
If you're falling down on the pavement and eating geese shit, I think you've got bigger problems.
There's no doubt. So they took all 19 of these. They euthanized the adults because once they nest in an area, they'll continue to come back every year. There's no getting rid of them. The positive spin was that they euthanized them and then gave the meat to local food banks.
Oh, you got any more of that murdered goose meat? There was good.
Delicious.
I'll just take that can of beans. Thanks.
So the local community is trying to limit the number of nesting pairs. They're fine with the juveniles that aren't necessarily nesting, but they want to keep the numbers down and they don't want it reoccurring. They did relocate the juveniles to some other place in hopes that they would not come back. We'll see. Interesting side note, we have a friend, without naming names, who happened to be in this area where they rounded up geese. And it happened today, but his young neighbor next door was outside and got into a fight with a goose. And then their dog came out, which made it even worse. And on top of it, the grandparents were in town. So you had an 80-year-old grandfather with a cane out there. And of course, knowing our friend to be a pretty good fella, he went out to help try and get the dog away from the goose. And of course, our friend got bit.
What? Oh, shit.
Yeah. He will not be playing hockey tomorrow with me because of this injury. It was a dog bite. It wasn't a goose bite, but nobody was there to help. So he figured he'd do the right thing, and it ended up he got bit. So,
wow. Who picked the fight with the goose?
One tetanus shot later. I'm hoping that he's going to be okay. And I can't wait to hear the story from him. I just kind of got the condensed version because we were on topic with this today. He feels like they were in his neighborhood because they rounded them up. And it's just like ice. These Canadian geese are trying to hide out wherever they can so they don't get picked up.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't wait to hear him tell this story because he's a fucking hilarious storyteller. But
I'm going to need a couple beers in a hot parking lot, okay?
yeah. What started the fight? I mean, who picks a fight with a goose?
I think the goose was just hanging out, and kids are stupid. They come out and do dumb shit. And then the dog comes out, and the dog thinks he's doing the right thing, and here we go.
Wow. That is insane. Then somebody gets bit by a dog.
And then somebody gets bit by a dog and has to get a tetanus shot.
And the goose ends up dead.
I don't think the geese was harmed in any of this.
Well, if he was a Canadian goose, did he avoid the roundup that they?
His goose will be cooked. You can see they're pretty cute. We do have a lot of them in our area, and you generally see them crossing the street. People do get upset by that, but everybody seems to give them their space. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're geese. So what? But yeah, there's a park that's near me, and there's a whole bunch of them there with the geese and the geeselings, and yeah, there's a lot of goose shit there. But you know what? As you're walking through, you step aside, and you kind of keep moving. You don't make eye contact. You don't make any threatening gestures. Because I stopped to take a picture like maybe 6 weeks ago. It was the geese with the little geeselings, and they were so cute. I wanted to take a picture for my niece. And I got a little too close, and the one comes up, and they let you know, they hiss at you, and I was like, "We're good, no problem here. I'm just going to keep moving along." And problem solved. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got bit. No dogs were involved.
You look like trouble. I'm on the geese side.
Just taking some pictures.
That's okay. Well, and the amount of seeing them 6 weeks later was pretty impressive too. So kind of neat to watch how they
They
evolve.
grew up pretty quick.
Absolutely. Speaking of growing up quickly, I'm going to go back to my favorite USPS, the peeps I love, who did really turn out. They turned out pretty strongly for the rally. Again, that next rally for the No to Kings will be July 4th. We will put some other stuff up. This right here is a UPS or a USPS. I'm sorry, EV vehicle. This was something that the post office has tried to add for a while. They have 7,200 EV delivery vehicles. I will say that their fleet is so old that it's kind of a mess as far as how much heat that these guys have to deal with on a daily basis. It's not something that we've upgraded. It's not a business, it's a service. So we crap all over them, but we still expect our mail to come and not through DHL, UPS, or FedEx all the time, especially rural America. Again, this is for you, rural America. So what they've decided to do is sell off these vehicles. I'm going to put this other one up here real quick. This was the style they were going to because not only are they energy efficient, but you can see to the postal box. It makes it a lot easier for, oh, what is that? Rural America, where they have postal boxes and the guy's got to drive miles in between to get there.
Yeah.
I think the design's fine. Does it look goofy as heck? Of course it does. But who cares? It's efficient. And I look at it, I know it's the USPS, and I'm all about it. So a little bit upsetting. 7,200 vehicles. They just want to basically, they turned the vehicles over to the General Service Administration, and they're going to put them up for auction. Who's buying those things?
Well, if the price was right.
They're totally tailored for mail delivery. I mean,
Well, that first one, the sleek looking van, I could see myself cruising around in that.
Let me see that again. That thing was pretty big, though. I mean, look at that thing. Yeah, I mean, that's not.
That thing's awesome. You kidding me? I could really fix it up, man.
I'd keep it just the way it is. Maybe some new tires and some rims, but.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like the inside, I could probably put like a
bed,
a little bed in there. Maybe, yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Well, the point is, they're a little bit goofy.
Even this, dude, they'd know I was coming driving that.
It'd be great for the drive-in. I mean, that front window's amazing.
Yeah.
So not only that, but they want them to, at the post offices and their facilities and lots, to rip up and uninstall the chargers that they've already put in.
Why would you do that?
Now, we know that Trump complained about the cost that it cost $8 billion. I mean, all this with a grain of salt because this guy's all over the place. $8 billion to do 9 chargers. They have several chargers. Why are we just throwing billions of dollars away? They're not going to be able to auction off these vehicles to get their money back. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And who's paying for this? You know, we're paying for this. So you're throwing away and destroying taxpayer-funded money that's built for the Postal Service. Gone.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, he didn't seem to have a problem with the $2 million that Kristi Noem spent in her "Thank You, President Trump" campaign, or that costume budget. I guess that's quite fine. Nobody has a problem with that, but that's just insanity. It is so ridiculous. This is a guy whose brain is turning to mush, right? Who just wants to drag us back to the good old days of the 1950s.
Yeah, which is wrong.
It's wrong. The world is changing so fast. I mean, we're moving forward, at lightning speed. Things change, and we're just so unprepared now to keep up with this shit.
Well, we are, and it's not helpful to future generations coming up. Just in closing, it's going to cost the USPS $1.5 billion to do this. It's again in spite because Biden made this deal to switch over to EVs, which seems progressive, but I guess we hate that.
Oh, that's so woke.
We hate any kind of progress. And the USPS came out and said this is going to cause substantial harm to our customers and your constituents. Why are you doing this? But they don't care because you're going to vote for them anyway, and it really doesn't matter. This is another piece of legislation in that big, beautiful tax bill that's almost on its way to the president's desk to really screw us all, frankly.
Well, my guess is they're not worried about future elections because they figured out how to rig them, or they'll just shut them down.
Well,
executive order, no more elections.
I like where Trump's going. Let's dig into this past election. And I don't mean 2020.
Yeah, well, it's already in litigation. Where is that? In
New York.
New York? Yeah. So let's
It's
see what
happening.
happens because your 2020 litigation went through the court 60 times and lost every time.
Yeah,
So
and you got Gillibrand got 80% of the vote, and Kamala got zero. That's just not. It's just not
yeah, no,
force that are
yeah,
believable.
none of this makes any sense.
So I'm with Trumpy Bear on this one. Let's investigate the 2020 election. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Well, let's
Sounds like
investigate
something.
2024 while we're at it.
I mean 2024. I'm sorry. Yeah. No need to look back. We already know the screwing.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. But I was going to mention that today is, let me just pop that up. Maybe you remember this episode. I can't believe it's from 1972. I mean, I was young, but I certainly remember. Any memories, Billy?
It looks like me, but I don't remember being in Hawaii.
You weren't.
Is
This
that
was the,
Greg Brady?
yes, the Brady's go to Hawaii, and he's got that tiki around his neck. I think we all remember that that was not good luck.
The
Okay.
tiki was some bad juju.
Here's the whole family. Probably one of the worst episodes ever. As a two-parter, when Greg
Two-parter, yeah.
out,
Brady's go to Hawaii.
it was so bad.
Mike and Carol take the gang to the islands.
Yeah, well, uh, Mike experienced a lot of things that he missed in California, I guess, but we won't go into that. Greg did come out of this okay, thankfully.
Hmm.
But, oh my gosh, insanity.
Well, Jan was lost at sea for a few days before anybody even noticed, but it turned out okay.
The middle child, nobody cares
I know. Saved by her boyfriend, George Glass.
about. That's right. You don't have a boyfriend, make one up.
Oh, he lives in Seattle. You wouldn't know him.
Yeah, for sure.
Poor Jan. I think she became a Trumper.
Oh, really?
Maybe, or maybe that was Cindy. I don't know.
I know she's a little nutty. I'm not sure. I do know that Jan, they're back. They sold the Brady house, and then they do things where people can come and visit with her, and she does a pop in, and it's like old times.
They're like, you pay for the tour, and you're like, it's just Jan. I thought Marsha was going to be here.
And from behind, I thought it was Hilda. I couldn't even tell. I mean, the times have gone so. She's got to be pretty old. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, dude, she's at least 60. Well, I think she was older than me at the time, right? So,
she
yeah, I
might
don't
be
know, man.
pushing 70 would be my guess. And besides, everybody loves Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. Come
Oh,
on,
everybody loved Marsha.
program,
Marsha
man.
was awesome.
Still is. I mean, once she had that Coke addiction, everybody was on board.
And as I got older, I realized, you know what, Mrs. Brady wasn't that old. She was kind of hot.
Well, it didn't escape Greg, that's for sure.
Well, Mike wasn't that interested. So, and technically they weren't related by blood. So, no harm, no
Good
foul.
point. Great. Very good point.
Swinging Groovy Greg up in his upstairs bachelor pad up in the attic.
That thing was awesome.
What's that thumping coming from the attic?
It's just mom helping Greg move some things. Yes.
Yes. Doing a
Too
lot of
fun.
moving up there.
So moving off the Brady's and staying in LA, I saw several different. This is from '92. This was a truce between the two gangs in LA.
I remember that. Didn't Jim Brown broker that truce?
I think he might have. It's when he started wearing that hat, which was awesome. The Bloods and the Crips, and they were able to come to some kind of understanding to at least protect one another. One thing that has come out recently, we saw where the Dodgers pushed back and they didn't
Mhm.
allow ICE to come into their parking lot or stadiums, which was great.
I give him
Um,
props for that.
Now the Dodgers have given, I want to say $1 million. It seems a little light though, to people that have been affected by ICE, which is also very nice. And circa 1992, I did some digging and I saw where again these gangs are coming to a truce so that they can help when people are getting called into these hearings with ICE, and they're accompanying people. I don't know if you saw the two Army National Guard members took their mom to her hearing in uniform because they were afraid that they would cancel the hearing and then she would be arrested and deported. So they went with her in full uniform, and it made a difference. So ICE is afraid to go into certain areas because they don't like these gangs, right?
They should be. I mean, these guys, most of these guys, I mean, they're bounty hunters and they're probably fucking J6 guys. They're gutless cowards. They cover their faces. They love the cosplay and they want to get paid to fucking bully people. And those guys make me sick. Just a bunch of fucking, again, fake tough guys.
$1,500 to $1,800 a head. You know that Stephen Miller doesn't care if you're a criminal or not. We just got to get those numbers up. We need to get like 3,000 a day.
Who's counting and who cares? And here's the thing, you know what? If it's that big a deal, just lie like you do about everything else. Oh, we rounded up 3,500 today. Just nobody's checking. Nobody wants to see your work.
Yeah.
Just put it out there and call it a day and leave people the fuck alone.
Smart. That's way too smart, Billy. So they would not do that. Just in closing on the Brady thing, it is International Surfing Day. It's kind of what led me to Greg and his incident in Hawaii, but thank God he's alive.
Big wave, Greg.
Yeah, and to your point, I saw today 2 farms in Texas, a couple of farmers just completely shut down their farms. They don't have workers. They have nobody to come out because we're shipping them off, right or wrong.
It makes no sense. And if you look around today, I mean, dude, how many roofing crews are out there today at 100-degree heat on a Saturday? How many, landscape workers are out there today doing the shit? You want to get your white ass up off the couch and get out there? Get up on that roof? 110 degrees?
I've been watching the last 2 days in my neighborhood, which I don't want to call it out because I truly respect these people that are coming out and doing the work. But we had a lot of roofing damage. We had a lot of tree damage. These guys were there a full day yesterday. I walked my dogs a lot. I went by that location several times during the day. It only got hotter. And today, this morning, I'm walking the dogs again. It's 10:30 in the morning. The guy's on the highest pitch of a 3-story building, finishing what they started yesterday. To your point, not a single Caucasian person of this crew. And these guys are amazing. Respect.
Yeah, they are. They work their asses off. And here's something that people may not know, but I've been up on a roof in the summertime, and those shingles hold a lot of heat. Even in the fall, when the sun is strong, they bake. So you can very easily burn yourself just on the shingles. So yeah, it's insanity. But again, this whole regime is just based on insanity. It's the ravings of a lunatic who's carrying out a plan that was put together by the Heritage Foundation, a group that really essentially wants a small Christian nationalist government.
Yeah.
And he's played right into their hands. And he lied during the campaign. I don't know anything about that. I know anything about that. And people bought into it for whatever reason. I don't know, but it's just insanity. I mean, if you were putting together a primer on how to bring down a country, this is step by step.
Yeah, and if he would have looked, they're about 50% down their list already of things that were on the 2025 agenda. So he should have paid better attention. You used the word plan, which I find ironic because Trump's seeing this. He's seeing these farms closing. And he said, some of these guys have been here for 20 years and let's put it on the farmers to regulate themselves. They don't want criminals working for them. They'll get rid of the criminals, and maybe we don't have to do this. That comes out of one side of the mouth.
Well, then Stephen Miller gets in his ear and says, "Hey, the numbers are down," and
it doesn't matter.
I guarantee you, they're not throwing anybody out of Trump's properties or Mar-a-Lago.
They're still bringing people in, and that has been exposed. That Trump's still bringing in a lot of undocumented to do the work that he needs done.
Yeah, so
he left yesterday to go to his place in Jersey, Bennington or whatever the fuck that golf course is, and it's full service, not white people, that's for sure. But
yeah, it's crazy, and it's going to be interesting. I think next week the Supreme Court's supposed to rule on the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, if you see that struck down, it's over. That means the Constitution doesn't mean shit. And that's going to be a big mile marker. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. But I have no confidence in John Roberts or his court.
I don't either. And to that point, Trump and his plan, and Trump saying, "Hey, let's let the farmers do it." That's never going to happen. That's him speaking off the cuff in a moment of absent-mindedness. And the guy who's running the show, Stephen Miller, is going to continue to pick him up all over the place. Home Depot's numbers have never been worse as far as patronage.
Well, you would think at some point these corporations that the CEOs would be like, "Hey, we supported you. You're killing our business. What are you doing? Why don't you dial it down and back off?"
Well, that would make sense if they weren't also billionaires.
I know,
Look
but
at
still,
Home
even
Depot.
billionaires worry about, when they see the numbers going down.
He's old. He doesn't give a fuck. This is the America I want. I'm all about these illegal criminals and whatever. He's old. What's the Home Depot guy care? Is he growing his business? No, it's on autopilot. And he doesn't
He's
care.
old too, but I mean, he's still got shareholders to answer to, and I'm sure Arthur Blank doesn't like watching his, quarterly numbers go
Is he
down.
still part of that? I don't know that he is,
I don't know, whoever's running that place.
because he is not the devil. Blank's done a lot of good, and I know there's a lot of care behind that
Well,
gentleman.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully Home Depot only became a Trump supporter after he left. But personally, I patronize Lowe's now because they did not support Trump.
Good for you, and I totally
Mhm.
agree. And I, for one, agree with you, Billy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I have to pop this up just because we talked about that stupid election of 2020. But this guy this week had his beat down in court. Uh, Under oath, apparently, you can't lie the way you do when you're just talking to the media. The pillow guy, great product, apparently, fully behind it, 1,000%. Now has to pay $2.3 million of money he doesn't have because he lied and continued to lie about that election. So
He called it a win. He claims he won in court
because he only had to pay 2.3 million,
instead of what was it, 3 billion that they were suing him for. Yeah.
he has no money. He's practically living out of that suit.
It's just so funny. I mean, you look at guys like him and Giuliani, these guys that fucking were all in on Trump and they both ended up broke.
Broke, but
Unbelievable.
somehow still surviving. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Broke
But
used to mean broke. Like, I'm broke. I can't go out tonight. I'm looking to pay my rent. These guys are broke and they're still getting carted around. They still wear suits. They still have places to go. I don't get it.
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense either. Well, Alex Jones still hasn't paid back what he owes the Sandy Hook parents.
What a jerk off.
Yeah, I mean, we just live in a country full of creeps and cretins and ghouls.
Well, let's get rid of
Oh
them.
my.
Can we get rid of those guys?
It'd be nice. It'd be nice if we actually had justice system and a rule of law that treated everybody fairly. But apparently, that's too woke, man.
That sounds merit based.
That's merit based, and maybe maybe have billionaires pay their fair share.
If you talk to enough Trumpers, they feel like the billionaires do pay their fair share. That's where the disconnect is.
Maybe that's why they don't want rural America having any internet access, because you know what? Let's keep them in the dark and get all over them like mushrooms and let them out and vote.
Well, and I was watching a podcast and listening, but it was on YouTube as well. That Scott guy, the billionaire, that is all about correcting the tax issues that we're having with billionaires. And he said, as he was starting his businesses, and he buys and trades a lot of businesses, and he found success, and he was getting taxed. He made his first million. He's getting taxed at about 37%. Now that he's a billionaire, he's taxed at a rate of probably anywhere from 8 to 17%. Most average Americans are, especially if you're making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're getting close to the 40% range easily.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk to red hats, they feel like, oh, the billionaires are already paying theirs. Why aren't you paying yours? Well, I'm paying more than my share, and they're not paying nearly enough.
Yeah,
But
they're not paying. Yeah, so in some cases they're not paying anything.
how do you bridge that gap? Oh, major corporations for sure are not.
Yeah, it's obscene. It really is because first of all, and we always say this, if you're a billionaire, you're not going to even notice that tax bill because your money makes money on top of money. So you write a big check, and you know what? That hole in your boat fills right in. It just,
With money.
yeah,
Just stuff some more money in there. That'll plug that hole.
yeah, just stuff some more money. So maybe you don't buy another super yacht, this quarter. It's obscene. It makes no sense.
I like, to that point, they have these inflatable yachts that you can pull behind a small boat.
Ooh.
They look awesome. Keep in mind, they look like a yacht. They're fairly sizable, but they're inflatables. And I think maybe my goal in life should be to afford one of those.
That would be awesome. Or maybe just pick up that boat that somebody left on a trailer by the 170. If that's
That
still
kid-
there, I'm going to go get it.
I know, right? At worst, I can put it on in my backyard and sleep in it.
It's not covered, but I guess you won't really need to keep it
Oh,
covered
it's
this
so
summer.
hot. I don't need that.
Maybe we can get Igor to pull it behind his Kia.
Okay, but don't call it ping pong. Is all I'm saying. It's table
It's
tennis.
table tennis, motherfucker.
That's right. I've got a coach for that. All right. Um, you miss Igor. So here's my happy ending to the right. I have a couple things I wanted to talk about. The one kid I'm going to put up, and there's several. This goes back to Iran and Gaza, um, but I listened to some rap this morning. I'm going to put this kid up here. It's is it up there? MC Abdul. You can see here he's in Gaza. He was inspired by Eminem. Uh, at the age of 12, he had gone into his fourth year of conflict with the Israelis. Here he is again. He mixes Arabic and English terms. It's really pretty good. Um, in 2020, he came on the scene. He did a cover of Wiz Khalifa's "See You Again" at the age of 10.
Huh.
And the kid, he resides in LA now, but he's still, representing his country. The thing that I found so distressing, and again, some of his songs, that one was "Shooting at the Wall." He's got some other ones. His whole thing is about telling the truth loudly and lyrically. And like I say, it's pretty good. But the comments that I saw about this kid, and again, like, he started out, he was 10, then he's 12. We all get older. I think he's 16 now to this date, but he was born in Gaza. But the comments were like, doesn't look like he's starving to me. Another guy said, not much of a genocide. He looks fat and healthy. What is wrong with people?
I don't know, man. If you ever want to get your blood pressure up and get your cortisol levels flowing, scroll through the comments on Twitter, and I'm still going to call it Twitter. Fuck X. And it's just, I'll go a little bit down the rabbit hole and I have to remind myself, why am I even engaging with these idiots?
You're exactly right.
There's absolutely no point to it. It's just best to ignore that shit because people are ignorant. And most of these people, if you saw them face to face, they wouldn't say shit.
You're right. This kid, all I can say is maybe listen to the lyrics. It's pretty. Some people had comments that really choked them up, but in the context of a kid this young, in the producing the music that he is, whether you are for Israel or for mankind, the message is sound, and it's pretty good stuff. So.
I'm going to check it out.
I'm going to put a link to one of his songs in show notes just to check it out. But I thought it was very cool and it was nice to see. And again, he's residing in LA, but here's something. He's producing music for his people and he's still supporting his people. So,
well, fuck, man. Haters going to hate, but you know what? Hip hop is truth telling. And so, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I think you'll appreciate it. It was pretty good, and like I said, I just kept hunting more stuff down, and I found it. We talked about this yesterday. Like I said, I'll put his link in the show notes. But we talked about this yesterday. It was a big anniversary that came up. We were fortunate enough last night to pop in and see it. Yeah. 50 years ago, Jaws came out. That's Steven Spielberg on the camera, which David Duchovny. Who else does he look like? Danny Mac.
Danny Mac, dude. He was like, I think he was like 25.
Oh my god, insane!
When he made this movie, and I listened to an interesting podcast yesterday about it. Just, I think the original timeline for shooting was 3 months, and I think the original budget was like $4 million, and I think it took like 6 months and ended up costing $14 million.
Oh my God.
This it was a tough production to film because he insisted on doing a lot of the filming out in the open ocean where there was no water or no land visible.
Yeah.
Originally they talked about doing it in the Caribbean, but they settled on Martha's Vineyard where, they really didn't want them there. They weren't thrilled about having a production crew there to begin with. But you could get offshore and I think 30 miles off with no land in the background and you could find like a sandy bottom to film those scenes that was only like 30 feet deep. So, but it was just, they were plagued with all kinds of stuff going on there. The mechanical shark had all kinds of problems.
I heard those.
Bruce, the mechanical shark, named after Spielberg's lawyer.
What was it called?
Bruce.
Bruce. Okay.
Bruce the mechanical shark. Yeah, they had all kinds of problems with that. Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss did not get along. Shaw was a raging alcoholic, and Dreyfuss was a cocky know-it-all who at one time during a break-in filming, I guess, was on a talk show, and they asked him about the production, how it was going. He's like, this film's going to be a bomb. So that really didn't endear him to any of his fellow castmates or crew members.
Well, you said he's 25 years old. You're looking at Roy Scheider. You're looking at some major actors. I mean, Robert Shaw was a stud. He was in Black Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
an actor.
But unfortunately, also a raging alcoholic, which he admitted to. And at one point, they said that they were taking a break between shots, and they were sitting on the boat, and Shaw was pouring himself a scotch, and he's like, Dreyfuss, help me stop drinking. So Dreyfuss very helpfully reached over and swatted it out of his hands overboard. And he got himself a slap in the face for his troubles. So, but eventually they did make up. And,
good.
You know, it wasn't like they were buddy-buddy, but there was a mutual respect there.
Robert Shaw was such a dick to him all the time.
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss rubbed people the wrong way. And when he had a few drinks in him, Robert Shaw got very competitive and a bit boisterous. But, you know, one of the most compelling scenes in the movie is where they're on the boat at night, right? Him and Hooper and Brody having a few drinks, and they're telling war stories and showing their scars. And Brody asks about, well, what's that one? What's that tattoo? And he's like, that's the USS Indianapolis. 1,000 men went into the water. And he tells this whole story, and it's a true story about the USS Indianapolis in August of 1945, delivering a component from the atomic bomb to a base. And it was a secret mission, so they're off the grid, and they are returning back after delivering it, and they're torpedoed. They sink. They're not even reported overdue for a week. So these guys, you have 1,000 guys stranded in shark-infested waters, and I think only is it 300?
Yeah, 300
ended up surviving. It was horrific. But so this is one of the most compelling parts of the movie, where you get like kind of a backstory into why Quint's such a maniac and hates sharks so much. But the interesting thing is, it took them multiple rewrites to get this scene right. It wasn't in the original script, I don't believe. So several different screenwriters took a shot at it. The one that Spielberg settled on, and the producers, was too long. So Robert Shaw, who was also a novelist, a successful novelist, said, let me take a crack at this. So he writes the scene, which is the scene that they ended up using, which was really, really a great scene. And he decides, hey, why don't we shoot this? Let me have a few drinks and really get into character when we shoot this. So
great. What could go
Spielberg's wrong? Like, all right, what could go wrong here? Well, Robert Shaw has more than a few drinks, and it's just a waste of time. He can't get it right. So Spielberg sends him home, and Shaw goes back and passes out for a couple hours, and wakes up in the middle of the night and calls Spielberg, and he says, hey, did I embarrass you? I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. Let me do it again. So the next day, or the next evening, they go and they shoot the film and shoot the scene, and he nailed it in one take.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, but you know, that's really a compelling part of the movie. It's a great scene, and it kind of pulls the whole story together, and it kind of explains Quint. And oddly enough, this was like the first of the summer blockbusters, right? This was summer of 75, 50 years ago, and Jaws mania just like took over. I mean, our parents wouldn't allow me to go see it. But, you know, you saw Jaws merchandise, T-shirts everywhere, right? Jaws ripoffs. So the producers were like, hey, let's make a sequel. And Spielberg's like, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to do Quint's backstory. I want to do a prequel.
That would be cool.
And they said, yeah, no. And he's like, well, I'm out. And so they ended up doing Jaws 2, which was bad. Then you got Jaws 3 in 3D, which was worse, and Jaws 4, where nobody even gave a shit. So, but I think they're re-releasing. I think I don't know if they're doing a special 50th anniversary cut of it, but
I think so.
yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Well, we tuned in and it was on TV, which with the commercials sucks, but I still remember this cover on the
Hmm.
book. Uh, just a great beginning. I mean, obviously she's out there for a swim, so unexpected, and at the time, I mean, that started the whole realm into like, I know one of your favorites, roller coaster or any kind of crazy.
Earthquake.
Earthquake was another classic. The Poseidon Adventure, of course. I mean, come on now.
Hmm.
But yeah, Jaws is the measuring stick, if you ask me, because it was just a good story and well done, even if it was over budget.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That mayor was a real jerk.
He was a total jerk. He looked like a Florida mayor, frankly.
Well, in the book, so originally Peter Benchley was the author of the novel, and they let him write the first screenplay, and they ended up not using it. But the book was kind of different. Like in the book, Hooper had an affair with Brody's wife. The mayor had mob connections. So yeah, the book was a little bit different. And I think the ending was different too, although I don't recall how it ended. But anyway, yeah, Jaws is a classic, so it's pretty exciting. It's hard to believe it's 50 years old, but I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's part of the happy ending. Do you have anything to add before I let you go on this fine Saturday?
I don't know, man. I think that was long-winded enough. I think I think we're good with that.
All right, excellent. Well, I advise you to stay cool, stay out of the sun
Hmm.
if you can, and we'll probably catch up a little bit later.
All right, sounds good, buddy.
All right, nice job today.
You too.
Appreciate your help as always. All righty, see ya.